plugin of the week is the iZotope Mobius Filter. The Mobius Filter is a new simple plugin by iZotope, and it's kind of a fun one to work with. I think it's particularly well suited for working with EDM music, but I think it's actually kind of a quite a cool effect if you want to create some modulation, phasey, flangery style filter effects. Now, it says it uses Shepherd filters, and a Shepherd filter essentially is like bandpass audio that's swept between different frequencies. And essentially what you have are two different modes that you can work in, what they call faker and peak. You can create a direction for the movement, up or down. You can freeze the movement at any given point by hitting that. You can sync it to the host, so the rate can be based off of a hertz setting, which you see in a lot of modulation devices, all of them. And then you can also set the speed to modulate based on the host tempo itself. So if you've set the host tempo for pretty much any program music or live recorded music, most stuff is done to tempo. So obviously if it's not, then you can switch that off. Otherwise, if you have it, it's worth actually kind of doing in there. You have a width control. So this changes the sweeping effect to be more monaural or wider stereo, and then you have a mix control that allows you within individual tracks or on a whole mix, for example, set a wet-dry balance between the two of them. Got a bypass control down at the bottom. It basically turns the whole thing on or off. And that's pretty much what it is. Now, the fun part comes because you just have a little donut here in the middle, and all you're going to do is you just kind of drag it around. So you could assign this to a controller if you had, I'm trying to think of probably like a joystick type of thing. If you have a controller like that, you should be able to assign it to something like that, and then just kind of sweep it around. I'm just going to grab it here with the mouse and kind of drag it around. Now, what you have is a center frequency that the filter is based on. It goes down to 175 hertz, up to 10.8 kilohertz, and then you have a resonance, which goes from a 0 to a 100 setting. So when you sweep across this, you're sweeping across different stages or steps of a different centered frequency and a different amount of resonance that's added to the filter. So you can make that less or greater. And so let's just start by playing an instrumental here, and then we'll go through some of the different sounds that it creates. And as you kind of, if you could see here with this, you can kind of get into like a real performance aspect. What's interesting is that when you set this up, the actual frequency and the resonance show up as two different elements. So when you automate them, you'll have the center frequency and the resonance frequency. So if you're actually going in to write in automation, you want to add those two components over to be automated, and you will record enable those two elements when you're recording. So if you're tracking this live, then what would end up happening is you would kind of sweep this and record both of those. Otherwise, you'll only get lateral movement or vertical movement in your automation. So you want to be conscious of that. And then, of course, you can automate any of the other features. And what this would do is it would allow you or give the ability to just, live automate some kind of sweep or draw it in if you kind of get used to it and what it is that you want to do. So this is just a peaking style filter. And then so you can hear this sweeps upward, this sweeps downward. I can control the speed. It's 2 bars. And I can make it, even 4 bars, all the way up to 8 bars. Or I can make it happen faster. And you got a nice visualizer up here. I don't know. It's too much fun. You could just have a blast here, and just groove on it, basically. The other version is the faker, which will give you a little bit more of a flangey type of effect. Again, you can flange up or down. So this would be one where in the context, if you were just kind of working this, for example, in the context of, let's just say, a 4-bar section, or an 8-bar section, where you could set this to go up, from the beginning. And then switch down. Or have it, scale like up over a longer period of time and then drop down rapidly. So playing with those controls and the speed control with the automation gives you a lot of flexibility. Now, I just wanted to show here, just the stereo width control and how that affects. So this is mono, basically. The effect is more monoized. It's not that there's no stereo. So you could hear how that, the width on that particular thing. And then, of course, there's a mix control. And what this does, it gives you so much control, because in the transition, and this is why I say it's really so perfectly suited for like EDM music and things like that, where you want to do a sweeping effect from of this into a section. Then it's like you can basically set the mix control to be 100% wet, and then, or have it fade in and kind of build to a peak and then just go off to a 0%, and then kind of automate it to come in and sweep in wherever it is that you want it. And that allows you to kind of really control the transitions, where sometimes with these types of effects, if you switch to a bypass, it may be easier to get a glitch or a click, particularly in this example where I'm using it on a whole mix. But it's also very effective for working with individual synths, working with bass sounds, working with vocal sounds, and just laying in to a particular effect. Now, there may be times where you want to freeze this, and that's kind of where the movement thing comes in. That'll freeze it in its process. So again, this adds like another layer onto the effect, where you can basically have it set at a particular phase state, and then a phase relationship state. And then when you get to a certain point where you want the sweep to occur, you open up the movement and then let it kind of fly. And it's pretty much that simple. This is just one that you can actually, if you just get into those simple controls, you can create a lot of amazingly cool effects. And it's like a quickie, set it up, play around with it, find some cool sounds. You could find them really quickly, set it up, go through some different options, automate some things in and out, and you're good to go. Really, really cool one, a fun one. And so I really dig it. And that's it. It's the Mobius Filter by iZotope, and that's the plugin of the week.